George Floyd's death has ignited new calls within the U.S. military to improve race relations. Today, the U.S. Air Force made history when the new Chief of Staff, General Charles Brown, was confirmed. Brown is the first African American to become the chief of a military service. Nick Schifrin has the story.
Nomination, General Charles Q. Brown, Jr., to be Chief of Staff and General of the United States Air Force.
For the first time in the Republic's 244-year history, the Senate confirmed a black officer, General Charles Brown, as a military service chief.
And thinking about a history of racial issues and my own experiences that didn't always sing of liberty and equality.
Last week, Brown posted an emotional video about what he was thinking about, racism in the military.
I'm thinking about the pressure I felt to perform error-free, especially for supervisors I perceived had expected less from me as an African American. I'm thinking about wearing the same flight suit with the same wings on my chest as my peers, and they being questioned by another military member, "Are you a pilot?" I'm thinking about my mentors and how rarely I had a mentor that looked like me.
In this moment of national disquiet, the military is a crucible of race relations.
Really, you have to, I think, more than talk about it, you got to be willing to listen.
And it sparked admissions like these between outgoing Air Force Chief of Staff David Goldfein and top Air Force enlisted leader Chief Master Sergeant Khaleth Wright.
We probably don't completely understand it because you and I have had different life experiences growing up.
You know, the fear I have when I'm driving down, whether it's the Beltway or any street around here, and I see blue lights, because I think it doesn't matter if I'm the chief or whomever. And my greatest fear is not for myself, it's that I wake up one day and one of our airmen will be George Floyd.
And to talk about race in the U.S. military, I'm joined by retired Major General Dana Pittard, who had a 34-year career in the Army, including overseeing the training of the Iraqi military, and retired Brigadier General Remo Butler, who had a 29-year career mostly in the Green Berets or Army Special Forces. Gentlemen, thank you very much. Welcome to the NewsHour. Major General Pittard, let me start with you. What's the significance of General Brown becoming the first black service chief today?
Well, thank you, Nick. Today was really a great day in the history of our republic. General C.Q. Brown, who I've known over the years, is an excellent choice as the Chief of Staff of the Air Force. It's just too bad it's taken 244 years to have an African American in charge of one of our services. But it's a great day either way.
Brigadier General Butler, the percentage of officers who are black decreases with seniority. And at the same time, the percentage of enlisted who serve under the officers, the enlisted who are black increases with seniority. Back in '97, you wrote an article called "Why Black Officers Fail." Have things changed in the last 23 years?
Not very much. The black officers get promoted at about the same rate to the rank of captain. Once they make captain and move to the major, lieutenant colonel, they dramatically drop off. So the weeding out process starts then. And in the military, by the time you're a major, you probably have already have a couple of mentors. If you're a minority officer, many times you don't have a mentor. One, we're under the mistaken opinion a lot of times is that a mentor has to look like me. I've never had a black mentor in Special Forces because they weren't there. But I've had some great white mentors in Special Forces. Throughout the military, for many, many years, there are a lot of officers who feel that if you're a black general, they did it because of affirmative action, and you aren't smart enough. I remember when I first became a brigadier, they used to have this thing, and I don't know if they still do it. It was called a peer rating from the general. I didn't know that many general officers, but I got a lot of comments that said, not smart enough, not smart enough. And I went to a Latin general, and I said, what the heck is this? He says, don't worry about it. He said, I don't even read those things. He said, that's what a lot of people want to say. We aren't smart enough, but we are smart enough. The enlisted ranks have always been the worker bees. They're the ones that perform the labor, get the troops in line, get the troops on time, get them to the mess hall, get them back. They've always been working for white officers. on many occasions. The enlisted folks have been accepted because they are under the officers. They're not officers, they're enlisted. They're lower caste, basically.
Major General Petard, I wonder if you could comment on that, about the not only implicit racism that military leaders right now are admitting to, but also the explicit racism, perhaps, that you've experienced as well.
Oh, sure. I mean, there's still a legacy of systemic racism in our country. And the U.S. military, specifically the U.S. Army, is only a reflection of the society that it serves. No better or worse as far as racism. One would hope that it would actually be better, because there's some things that the Army has done in the past that have actually been in front of society, like the integration of units. The executive order by President Truman, I believe back in 1948, was well ahead of Brown versus the Board of Education in 1956. So there has been some good things there, but there's still this legacy of systemic racism, implicit bias that we see in units. And yes, we had those peer ratings with general officers that General Butler mentioned, and sometimes they hurt your feelings as far as some things that were said, and you just kind of have to scratch your head on that. It is a plus today that General Brown was nominated and confirmed as the Chief of Staff of the Air Force. So absolutely congratulations to him. But also we have some other things that we can be proud of. The Superintendent of the United States Military Academy at West Point is African American, General Darrell Williams. That's a big plus, and a great role model. But throughout my career, from second lieutenant all the way through general officer, I experienced different aspects of racism in some ways. But again, we're not here to be victims. And General Butler, who I've got great respect for, who was the senior most African American general officer in the Special Forces when he retired, is a great example of a person who has overcome obstacles and challenges, and has risen to the occasion, like so many of us have had to do. But it's too bad that in many ways we have to do double the work, double the effort, just to get the same kind of recognition as our peers.
Brigadier General Butler, I wondered if you could comment on where we are today. We've seen so many senior military officials talk about the importance of changing the culture in the military, and we even saw the Marine Commandant recently banning the display of the Confederate flag. But at the same time, the Army just said it would consider renaming bases for Confederate generals. How fast is the military moving forward on this issue, and is it moving with one voice?
Can't tell you if it's moving with one voice or not. These are just my opinions. Remo Butler. Number one, I'm not really interested in the names of the bases. I mean, I understand it. A.P. Hill, Bragg, I understand. They were Confederate generals. I understand that. I would rather the military work at the systemic problems, i.e. promotions and command selections for minority officers. That's where the problem is. If you don't have the right command, you're not going far. You'll go up. And if you look at the systemic thing, 1997, I wrote a paper, Why Black Officers Fail. 2010, Lieutenant Colonel Smith wrote a paper, Why Black Officers Continue to Fail, or something to that. 2020, there's another one written by another War College person, and he goes into the history of why there is systemic issues in the military. So I think we've made some progress, but not a lot of progress. People don't see the problem until it affects them. The people in power, it's not affecting them. You look at the George Floyd thing. People never saw this before because everybody didn't have videos. Now we have video. Now people can see things that are happening. That's why you're getting more protesters, because now they feel the effects of it. And I think that, the military is a great organization. The Army is great. I enjoyed my time in it. But I think that more could be done.
And those military leaders who are in charge right now do say and admit that more needs to be done, and they say that they are going to do more in the future. Gentlemen, we'll have to leave it there. Brigadier General Butler, Major General Petard, thank you very much to you both.
Great, thank you.
My pleasure.